What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And if it's your first time, my name is Travis Walls. I'm a former NBA strength coach of 10 years, a former Division I athlete, and now I'm the founder of Rebuilt Athlete. And if you're asking, what is Rebuilt Athlete? That is exactly what this conversation is going to be about today. And we're going to talk about who is Rebuilt Athlete even for. And so I'm super excited. If this is your first time watching these videos, these are super raw. I try to keep them unedited as much as possible because I want this to feel like you're in a locker room. I want this to feel like you're just chopping it up with a teammate. And if you cannot already tell, this channel is strictly for former athletes. And we talk about all the things that former athletes go through, the transition in terms of life after sports. And we break it all down. We have that conversation that doesn't really get talked about enough because a lot of people haven't stepped in our shoes. So if you're a former athlete, I promise you're in the right place. And today's going to be about what is a rebuilt athlete? Like, who is a rebuilt athlete? And I'm super excited to dive into it. So before we jump into it, I'm going to fill you in a little bit about my background, and you'll understand why this is so important to me. So I played Division I basketball at the University of North Florida, and then I played professionally in Finland and Slovakia. Once that was over, I kind of lost my identity. I had no idea who I was, what I like to do, because for the last 15 to 17 years of my life, it's been strictly about a sport, which was basketball. And if you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you probably had a dream of going to the NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, whatever sport it may be. And then when that day didn't happen, it was really difficult for you because you're like, who am I? Especially if you played at a high level. Your whole day and your whole structure, your whole routine was built around this sport, and then one day it gets taken away from you. So you're kind of, stuck asking your question, like, what is life about, and who am I, and what do I do next? So after playing overseas, I actually ended up working at Home Depot in the lumber department, and I really had this epiphany, so to say, of like, all right, what is life even about? Like, how did I get to Home Depot? No disrespect to anybody who's working at Home Depot, but I had a feeling like this is not what my life is supposed to be. Like this is just not what it's supposed to be. And there was a story that actually happened. I love to tell this story. I was in the break room eating my tuna, and I heard two guys talking, and they were right by me. And one of the guy asked, was like, hey, how long have you been at Home Depot? He asked one guy, and the guy was like a year or so. And then the guy asked him, he's like, how long have you been at Home Depot? And the guy was like, 15 years. And at that moment, I knew, like, all right, I got to figure something out because this is not the route my life is supposed to go. I just felt it in my heart. So I ended up going to grad school, and after grad school, started working with the basketball team, and then ended up through, to make a long story short, ended up working in the NBA for 10 years. Now, while working in the NBA, I started to feel like, I reached the highest level, and that was my goal. Like, I wanted to be an NBA strength coach. That was everything I wanted at that moment in my life. And then once I started doing it for years and years, I was like, I'm missing something. Something still feels empty. I just wasn't sure what it was. I'm like, Travis, you reached your goal, was to be an NBA strength coach. You're here. You're traveling the world. You're with the best athletes in the world. So why after, let's call it 6 to 7 years, you start to feel empty inside? And the reason is because there was nothing measurable. There was no statistics. I couldn't tell if I was getting better as a strength coach or if I was getting worse. There was nothing for me to know. I kind of started to feel like I was just, a number, so to say. Not that the athletes made me feel that way. That's just how I deemed myself and how I evaluated myself, because I couldn't pinpoint, okay, you got better this year than you were last year as a strength coach. There was none of that. So I started to feel empty. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to build an online fitness program. I'm going to transform people's bodies in 100 days. So I build this program. It's called Formula Factory, and I build it, and I'm transforming people's lives from all around the world through my fitness program. And then about a year or so into that, I'm like, something's still missing. I'm like, this is what you wanted, but something's still missing. And I really started to look at every client that I worked with, and I was just like, okay, who do you enjoy working with the most? Like, what type of client kind of turns that fire on inside of you, where like you want to go deeper than fitness and you want to learn more about them and you really want to help them get their goals. I wanted to help every client that walked through the door, but like what type of clients where it was personal with them. And I come to find out, after looking at all the data, it was former athletes. It was guys who were just like me that were trying to, find their identity, after playing sports for so long, or, just people who wanted to compete again. Like, they took it really, really serious. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to use fitness as a vehicle to help these guys find their identity again, compete again with themselves, and completely transform their life. Because what happens is fitness has become a commodity, especially online fitness. It's like a commodity now. Like everybody's doing it. You open up your phone and it's just all these people who are personal trainers, online personal trainers, just helping people, which is nothing wrong because a lot of people need help. But I just didn't want to blend in with everybody else. I was just like, I've never been the type of person. I was just kind of like, I'm just another trainer. Like I just didn't sit right with me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to work with the clients that I enjoy working with the most. And those were former athletes because they take it personal. They're not here just to, get the abs or the biceps. They're here because there's an identity issue that they may not have solved. And maybe they haven't seen themselves do something significant in so long that they need a challenge. They need to compete. They need a scoreboard. And that's what fitness can do for you because you can literally track everything and see your body improving. Not only your body improving, but your life improving. And this is why I was like, you know what? I want to build a tribe of guys who are former athletes. We're using fitness as a vehicle to transform their life, not only their body. And that's how we got to Rebuilt Athlete. So if you're a former athlete, like I said, you are in the right place because this is what this channel is all about. And I'm super excited to drive the bus for former athletes in terms of like life after sports and completely transforming your life through fitness and why it's extremely important. So now that you know what it is and how we got here, it's like, well, who is a rebuilt athlete? Well, obviously, like I spoke about former athletes. A rebuilt athlete is a former athlete who has hit a moment in their life where maybe they may have fell off physically. They may be hitting on all other cylinders in their life, but when it comes to their physical component, they're really struggling. They can't find out why they can't lose the weight. They can't find out why they've lost structure, why their motivation has dipped. Those are my type of guys because they're missing that one component that is going to make them feel alive again. And I think fitness can do it. And these are the guys I've been working with. These are former athletes. I've worked with former NFL players, former Division I athletes, just for people who stopped playing in high school but took sports really serious. And they always felt like, hey, I've been missing something these last few years. And this is what I think it is. It's like being a part of a tribe, taking my fitness to another level that I haven't been able to do by myself. And that has been the forefront of Rebuilt Athlete. So I'm happy to let you know what it is, and I'm super excited for it. So, like I said, these are guys who have lost themselves physically, and we're trying to rebuild them back up. And people always ask, like, well, how does fitness rebuild you back up? And I think it's more of looking at it from a view when you're allowing to see yourself do something significant again. You're not stuck on the past anymore. And a lot of former athletes are getting out of shape and, becoming overweight is because the structure that they once had is completely gone. And then you start going through the motions and fitness just becomes a box that you check. You go to the gym, you work out, you do some exercises, and then you go home. And then you try to eat healthy, and then years go by and you're like, my body hasn't changed in I don't know how many years. It's because you're just checking a box the entire time. But what Rebuilt Athlete is, when guys come into the program, there's strategies in place for them to see themselves improve, which send the signals to their brain that they're actually doing something that they've been trying to do for so long, which is improve their body. And I'm hoping that bleeds into other areas of their life where they can see themselves being successful. So these guys are usually chasing the feeling of structure, like I said, a brotherhood, and just being a part of something that's going to allow them to reach that new level. And that is who Rebuilt Athlete is for. The former athletes who are still chasing success in this area of their life, and they're using fitness as a vehicle to put them in rooms with guys that are just like them and then build themselves up, like I said, physically, but also emotionally, mentally, spiritually. All those things come into place when you step into the right rooms with people who are just like you. So I like to say, I always have this slogan of get back in the arena. And that's what I want former athletes to do. Like, get back in the arena, start competing with yourself. When's the last time you got your blood work done? When's the last time you realized, hey, my body may need something for me to optimize it the way I've been trying to? When's the last time you had a real program in front of your face and you seen yourself check all the boxes and you seen your body start changing? When's the last time you looked at food as a way of not just, oh, I'm hungry, but you looked at it as fuel? You started picking certain foods in order for your body to feel a certain way so you can produce the results that you actually want to produce. And that's what Rebuilt Athlete is building that platform for former athletes to step in there, see their bodies change, and get around guys just like them. So, like I said, fitness is just the driving force. And when we talk about what is Rebuilt Athlete, if we go back to that, it's like the idea of it is going to be a business for former athletes where we step into an area of not just fitness. And like I said, not just a tribe, but like guest speakers, masterminds, events, where we're putting people together where it's like, hey, look, you're just like me, I'm just like you, and then maybe, we can do something together. That's how I view it, because I think a lot of athletes start doing stuff their own way because that's just how we're wired. Like, I can do it myself. And I deal with it, with potential clients. It's like, hey, I know I can get myself in shape. And it's like, well, why haven't you done it in, the last 10 years? It's like, well. It's like, yeah, you need a little help. But it's that ego thing. And I'm trying to help these guys drop that ego and then put them in a room with guys just like them where they can collaborate and come up with new ideas. So the ideas are endless for Rebuilt Athlete, but these videos that I'm putting out are just explaining what Rebuilt Athlete is, and for people to, know that there's a place for them to, get connected and get around a group of guys just like them. So like I said, this is why fitness is the vehicle. And I'm super excited to continue to spread the message of what a Rebuilt Athlete is, who is Rebuilt Athlete, and then all the things that we have coming in the future. Because like I said, I'm super excited about it because I know what it can be and I know what it will be more than anything. And it's like, this is the place where guys who have been chasing success, and maybe they have gotten success when it comes to their career, but fitness has just become the box that they just check every single day. And they're wondering why they look in the mirror every day and they're like, why am I not improving? It's because you're just checking a box. You're not taking it serious. You're not dialing in your fitness and nutrition like you may have once were when you were an athlete. And this is what this is about. This is about the guys who want to compete again, the guys who want to get back in the arena, the guys who want to set a tone for their family, the guys who are done talking about, hey, this is what I used to do. This is what I used to be. It's like, no, this is what I'm doing now. This is who I am now. So that is what Rebuilt Athlete is. Super short video. I just wanted to make sure I got this out there so people know exactly what Rebuilt Athlete is and who is it for. So I appreciate you. If you like this video, I would love for you to like, subscribe, share. So if you're a former athlete, I would love for you to comment below and just tell me what sport you played and explain what the transition has been for you after sports. Like, what has it been like? And maybe you're not into fitness, or maybe your fitness is the best it's ever been. It's not so much about that. I'm just trying to bring us together, because I think a lot of times when it comes to athletes, we kind of go our own way, and I can do it myself. And when you get to the top of everything, like I was in the NBA, a lot of people collaborating. They're doing a lot of things together. So I just want to be able to be the person who brings former athletes together. So like I said, once again, like, follow, subscribe. Do whatever you got to do for this channel, because I promise you, Rebuilt Athlete is coming. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Peace.